On April 20th, 2020, in Antwerp, a young couple was spending a seemingly ordinary day in their apartment. Everything was calm until the 20-year-old woman accidentally shot herself while playing with her boyfriend's gun. Unbeknownst to her, this incident would set off a chain of events that would nearly dismantle a vast Belgian criminal empire, masterminded by the person behind many bombings, drug smuggling, and multiple illegal activities in the country. This is the story of Belgium's most infamous figure, Nordin El H, better known as NWA. NWA stands for Never Working Again. Clearly, someone who chooses such a name isn't someone born with a silver spoon. Instead, they either worked tirelessly to achieve financial freedom or took illegal means, and Nordin certainly wasn't the diligent type. He became powerful and rich in Antwerp by smuggling drugs. Nordin grew up in Antwerp and started as a small-time street drug dealer. As time went by, however, his criminal activities caught up with him, and he was sentenced to 40 months in jail. He couldn't handle it and fled to the Netherlands, as he was mostly accustomed to receiving community service as punishment. In the Netherlands, Nordin's life changed. He went from being a petty street dealer to running an organization, thanks to a key figure named Scarface. Scarface's real name was Samir. He was an influential person in the drug shipment business and a top Dutch criminal. Samir was crucial for Nordin's future, teaching him the ins and outs of the business as his mentor. Under Scarface's guidance, Nordin learned how to manage the drug trade, keep a low profile, and expand his operations. Scarface's connections helped Nordin rise from a street dealer to an organization leader. However, Scarface was killed and his brother Karim took over what Samir left behind, including Nordin. Together, they made successful drug shipments. As Nordin's ambition grew, he wanted to start his own operations. He saved up money and eventually began his own drug shipments, becoming one of the most powerful figures in Antwerp's criminal underworld. When his connections grew, Nordin formed a partnership with Frank, an ex-bodybuilder known as The Tank. Nordin and The Tank made a formidable duo, and their shipments were very successful until things suddenly went south. There's a saying, in a fight between whales, the shrimp's back gets broken. The same goes when two high-powered people get into a fight. The uninvolved ones end up threatened. These two big whales used to be allies but ended up arch-enemies. Frank V and Nordin El H. Yes, NWA's real name is Nordin. They caused many life-threatening scenes just to get back at each other. One might ask what made them sworn enemies when everything was going smoothly. It all comes down to one unsuccessful shipment. Some say rich people don't fight over money, but that's far from the truth. Almost always, people like Nordin go head-to-head for cash. Frank was paid 400,000 euros in advance for it, but the shipment had to be cancelled. Nordin, as anyone would, asked for his money back, but Frank wasn't willing to return it. He claimed that he had already made payments to his people, so it was impossible. Nordin didn't take this well. He used a different way to show Frank that he was serious. He sent an armed person to Frank's home and reminded him again that he had to pay him back. This was the first strike. Frank paid a quarter of what he took, but payback was needed. Nordin's parents' house was attacked on February 23, 2017. It was shot 18 times. 2 men were arrested, but they decided to keep quiet. Anyone who knew the story would guess it wasn't an accident but revenge from Frank, as did Nordin. In 3 days, Nordin responded with several shootings and 2 firebombs at Frank's house. Amidst all this, Frank was arrested for investigation in cocaine trafficking. This might sound like a feast to Nordin's ears, but it was the contrary. Frank didn't hold back from confessing about Nordin and his organization, and the result was Nordin's fury, leading to his vicious actions. Imagine receiving a list titled Death to Informants on a seemingly normal day. In February 2018, a few people received this message. The list included Frank, his associates, his ex-girlfriend, and a police accomplice. Receiving the mail is one thing, but being among the listed individuals would instill terror in anyone. It was obvious that this was Nordin's doing. Every listed person was terrified, except for one. He anonymously said, "Those who believe it is a real list of informants are crazy. It is only people who were interrogated in that case." This wasn't all. Nordin orchestrated 3 more dangerous incidents. In March 2019, 4 cars were damaged, 1 with explosives and the other 3 by fire. Nordin wasn't even in Belgium when these incidents occurred. He was staying in Dubai. The police couldn't arrest him since he was abroad, so they took another approach to dismantle his empire. The way everything was revealed was the most unforeseen plot twist. On April 20th, 2020, a couple were enjoying their day and hanging out in an apartment. It was an ordinary day, and time was passing by uneventfully until a shooting took place. The shooting didn't come from a nearby apartment or neighbor, but from within their own. Girl, Birgit, accidentally shot herself in the foot with her boyfriend's gun. It was an accidental shooting, so emergency services and the police arrived. In a normal situation, she would receive first-line treatment and maybe be admitted to a hospital, and the police would take her and her boyfriend's words and leave the scene. What really happened was far from this scenario. A shocking discovery unfolded as the police found a cache of weapons, grenades, cocaine, and a significant amount of cash in the apartment's basement. Her boyfriend, Mufti, had fled the scene, leaving Birgit to face arrest. This random incident revealed a dangerous underworld connection that no one could have anticipated. Nordin's people had a hideout where they would store weapons, money, drugs, and firearms, one in Antwerp and one in Bornem. No one knew these places except for themselves, so to discover their whereabouts, tailing one of these men was essential. The first step the police took was monitoring Mufti after the apartment incident, which led them to the warehouse in Antwerp. Evidence was needed, so the police installed cameras in the apartment and the parking garage where preparations for drug transportation were made. This discovery guided the police to Nordin's right-hand man, Mehmet Ali T, who often visited the place. Things started becoming clearer for the prosecution, and they hit a jackpot when an unexpected source came forward. The person in charge of getting the shipments out of Antwerp to Nordin's people was Eric P. Eric's job was crucial. He had to control the shipment as it passed borders and handed it over. Any mistake in his job could lead to a significant loss. However, Eric slipped up. He bragged about picking up a present over the phone, a metaphor for an incoming shipment. What he didn't know was that his phone was bugged by the police due to an ongoing investigation into a previously seized shipment. Thus, on January 13, 2020, when he went to Bornem to pass a shipment from Ecuador, he wasn't alone. Nordin's people waiting on the other side to collect the shipment, and Eric himself were all exposed and arrested. Among the arrested men was Mehmet's brother, Zafir. Zafir was engaged in a conversation with his cellmate. They discussed how they would be paid once released, but insisted that NWA's name be kept secret. What they didn't know was that their cell was wired and being monitored. The police confronted them, but they claimed everything said was nonsense. The police dismantled Nordin's entire organization and arrested him in June 2020 in Dubai. Even though the prosecution finally hit their core target and arrested him, their success was short-lived. Before he could be deported, he paid a €10,000 bail fee and was released. Currently, Nordin is living freely and lavishly. He might indeed be living up to his name, never working again, NWA. Thanks for watching. If you found Nordin's story fascinating, just wait until you hear the unbelievable story of the kids who breached the CIA. Catch you in the next video.